हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। हरि ओम तत्सत। श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. Today we are going to see the chapter titled Dhrtarastra with Swami. This is 13th chapter of Canto 1. This chapter begins with Vidura returning to Hastinapur. Prior to the Kurukshetra war, Krishna had visited Hastinapur as a peace messenger, trying to instill some sanity in the mind of Dhrtarastra as well as that of all Pandavas. However, Krishna's good advice, which was for the well-being of everyone, fell in deaf ears, and he was insulted in many ways by Duryodhana. And after the departure of Krishna, or when the peace proposal didn't go through, at that time Vidura approaches Dhritarashtra and tells him, this person, Duryodhana, he is an enemy of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, who is the well-wisher of everyone. He is the enemy of the most virtuous devotees of the Supreme Lord, which are the Pandavas. And he alone will single-handedly bring about the downfall of the entire Kuru dynasty. So please get rid of him and do not listen to him. When this advice was given to Dhritarashtra by Vidura, Duryodhana, in a very expected way, he didn't take it nicely. He insults Vidura in public, telling him this son of Shudra is not capable of being associating with us, being an associate of us. In fact, he is siding with our enemies and always speaks in support of them. He dares to insult me, and as a remuneration for all his lifelong services, I will spare his life, leaving his prana or breath in his nostrils, and I will actually abandon him. So in this way, he insults him. So Vidura, he wasn't very keen in the first place to fight against the Pandavas. So he took this as an opportunity, and he leaves his bows and arrows on the gate, and he leaves Hastinapur. And he goes on different places as a pilgrimage. And along the way, when he was going in pilgrimage, he also got opportunity to associate with great sadhus, inquires about transcendental truths, transcendental science about them, from them. And he also got the association of Uddhava while he was on pilgrimage, as well as he came across Maitreya, from whom he took Siksha as well. So in fact, almost like 2 cantos, you will see the instructions, the description which Maitreya speaks about the glories of the Supreme Lord, Vidura hears. So after gathering all this experience, he comes back to Hastinapur. Why does he come back to Hastinapur? someone who is very renounced, like Vidura, he has got no business. In fact, he has already taken Vanaprastha and is going all around. There was no need for him at all, for him coming. Still, he visited back for only one purpose. And the purpose is to somehow or other help his brother, Dhrtarastra. Because all along his life, he is the younger brother of Dhrtarashtra. One of their other brothers is King Pandu. Pandu had passed away when the Pandavas were barely few years old. And then it was just left to Dhrtarashtra to rule the kingdom. And Vidura, as his trusted aide, confidant, friend, as well as his younger brother, he always gave him good advice. So despite him traveling everywhere, he was still moved by compassion to do something good for Dhrtarashtra, because he just couldn't stand the thought how his brother could be so attached. Drida means steadfast. Rashtra means kingdom. Dhrtarashtra means one who is very much attached to being a king. So as his name implies, that's Dhrtarashtra. So Vidura wanted to do something good for him. So as one final attempt, he wanted to come and visit. So that's the purpose why Vidura returns to Hastinapur. When Vidura returned from Hastinapur, after learning about the transcendental science from different personalities on his pilgrimage, he comes back and everyone was feeling so happy. In fact, the description is given here that everyone felt as if they regained their consciousness. That includes Pandavas, headed by Yudhishthir Maharaj, Kunti Maharani, and everyone else. They dropped whatever they were doing and they hurried to receive him. He is such a great personality. So Vidura, because of his association from different devotees, plus he himself is a great devotee, his position will be revealed shortly. He is endowed with this pure love for Lord Sri Krishna, and he is a great expert in the science of devotional service as well. So everyone, they went, welcomed him, offered obeisances to him, and then they greeted him. They cried out in affection. It's given prema baspagam. They cried out. When you see somebody who's beloved, you can sometimes see in airport, when the beloved ones come after a long time, you'll always see the hailing of people. Hey, you here? Oh, finally. So in this way, everyone was crying out loud with words of affection, crying tears. And they hurriedly went and they greeted him. They were also feeling pangs of long separation. Virahaut kantya katrai, it's given. So they were also feeling that pain of separation. Yudhishthir Maharaj then offered a seat to Vidura, and then he made him seated comfortably. He worshipped him. He fed him sumptuously. Firstly, took care of him, made him to take rest. And then finally, the talks or the conversation between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Vidura begins. Now, there are many key verses in this section, but there is one verse which is very often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. Firstly, Yudhishthir Maharaj says to Vidura that we lost our father when we were young, but just like how a mother bird would protect the child birds within its wings, similarly, you protected us, oh, our dear uncle. So first, Yudhishthir Maharaj is expressing his words of appreciation. Normally, when somebody does something good to us, we have this tendency to forget. But the one who is really feeling grateful at heart, they will never forget. In fact, the very word in Sanskrit for gratitude is kritagna. Krita means something somebody has done to us. Nya means to know or to remember. So kritagna means to remember something which someone has done to us. If we don't remember that, then it's known as kritagna. Kritagna means forgetting. And Bhagavatam says this is the worst emotion a human can go through, which is feeling ungrateful for what people have done to us. So here Yudhishthir Maharaj, even though Vidura had done something good to him probably more than 100 years ago, he still remembers. Even though Yudhishthir Maharaj, now he is the king of whole Jambudvipa, which we said approximately is about 81 times the size of this earth. Yudhishthir Maharaj was not just the ruler of this earth, But he was ruling the entire Jambudvipa, which had 9 varshas, and each varshas in turn had 9 kandas, at least southernmost. We had Bharata Kanda. Size-wise, you can actually see that's how big kingdom Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling. Nevertheless, he still remembers the help which Vidura had done to them. He protected Vidura not just once but twice. First, he protected Bhima from poison, and secondly, he also protected the Pandavas, especially from being burnt to death in Varnavath palace. So, in this way, he remembers that. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he first remembers this, and then he inquires, so in your travels, how did you maintain yourself? What are the different places you go to, or you went? What are the different services you did? And then he glorifies him with this verse. Again, this is one of the most often quoted verses by Srila Prabhupada. Bhavat vida bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirti kurvanti tirtani swantastena gadabrata. Yudhishthira Maharaj says, pure devotees like you go and you purify the places of pilgrimage. In fact, wherever you go, tirti kurvanti tirtani, wherever you go, that place becomes a tirtha. Tirtha means a holy place. When Mother Ganga, when she was appearing, at the time she tells to Krishna, I don't want to descend down to this material world, because whenever somebody comes and dips on my waters, they will become pure, but I have to carry their sins. So I don't want to go. But Krishna has told her that you go down. Yes, it is true. Whoever comes and dips in your waters, they will become pure, and you will actually have to carry the sins. But when my pure devotees come, when they take a dip in your waters, they will carry away your sin. Which means pure devotees of the Lord are more pure than Ganga. In fact, they can even purify Ganga. That's what it means. Tirti kurvanti tirtani. So wherever Prabhupada had visited, it's a tirtha. We are very fortunate to be in Sydney. Sydney is a tirtha. Prabhupada has gone to Epping. Prabhupada has gone to Sydney Uni. Prabhupada has gone to Glebe. Prabhupada personally carried Shri Radha Gopinath. We are very, very fortunate in every sense. So Yudhishthira Maharaj glorifies Vidura that, yes, you go to different places on the pretext of taking mercy, but actually you go there to give mercy to others. And he then continues his queries. In your pilgrimage, when you went to different places, definitely would have gone to Dwaraka. And you would have definitely seen Dwarakavasis being totally engrossed in the service of Krishna. Are they living happily? Now, the point to remember at this point is Vidura, as he was going, he was also hearing the news. One of the news he heard as he was on his pilgrimage was Kurukshetra war got over. After some time, he hears the news, Bhishma Dev left his body. After some time, he hears the news, Yudhishthira Maharaj was coronated as the king of the whole world. He continues, then he meets Uddhava, and Uddhava tells him everything that had transpired in Dwaraka after Krishna arrived there. He mentions about the annihilation of the entire Yadu dynasty, and how Krishna had also departed to spiritual world, and Vidura felt pangs of separation. In fact, when Uddhava says this, he cries out. So Vidura knew about all this. Despite knowing about Krishna's departure, at this point, when Yudhishthira Maharaj asks about the well-being, welfare of the Dwarakavasis, Vidura chooses not to disclose. Because Vidura's point is, this is a very terrible, terrible bad news, departure of Krishna. Why should I be the bearer of that? Anyway, in due course of time, Yudhishthira will come to know about it. It goes to show how we should focus only on spreading positivity in this world. And not only Vidura, in fact, in the second half of this chapter, we will also see Narada Muni coming. Narada Muni will also come. He would simply make a hint that the Lord came, fulfilled the purpose for which he descended. And then Narada Muni would go. Narada Muni also wouldn't disclose about Krishna's departure to Yudhishthira Maharaj for the same reason. Because great souls, they don't want to aggravate an already agitated mind. So it's a great lesson we have to learn from these Mahabhagavatas like Vidura as well as Narada Muni, that we should not be overly keen to spread negative news, overly critical. Kali Yuga is an ocean of fault. So to find fault or to be a critic is not such a great quality. It's everywhere. So it's not a great quality. But to be positive, that's a great quality. To be encouraging to others, that's a great quality. But to be a critic in the name of like, no, I'm just being honest, that's not a great quality. It's not needed. If something is not asked of you, why do you even open your mouth? If you want to really open your mouth, chant Hare Krishna and do something nice. Do something good to spread peace, to spread positivity in this world. And don't indulge in doing anything that negative, which anyway people get in tons and tons in their lives. Why should we be the reason for that? So here Vidura, he answers every question. He mentions about what are the different places he went. He shares about what he learned. He speaks everything except the annihilation of the Dwaraka, annihilation of the Dwarakavasis. So he says, calamities come on their own accord. Or rather, this is the description that's given. Calamities, anyway, they come. So great soul like Vidura, he think, why should I actually say something which is unpalatable, apriyam, unbearable, durvisaham? Why should I say something which is going to hurt them, which anyway he'll come to know over a period of time? And thinking this way, he holds back that news about Krishna's departure and the destruction of Yadu dynasty. Vidura stayed. Vidura was respectfully treated. He stayed there for some time, again, for only one purpose, which is to benefit Dhrtarastra. Vidura's position, it's given in Mahabharata. Vidura's position is given in this verse also, that he was Yamaraj originally, and he was cursed by one sage by name Manduka. Because of that curse, he took birth as Shudra for 100 years. During that 100 years, his position was filled by Aryama, who is also one of the Adityas. Adityas are the sons of Mother Aditi, who is the wife of Kashyapa Muni. So all the Devatas, they are all Adityas. They are known as Adityas. The sons of Aditi, they are known as Adityas. Aryama is also one of them, because Yamaraj had to vacate his seat for 100 years. In another place, Prabhupada says, Yamaraj also, he constantly deals with all culprits, because everyone who goes to Samyamani, which is his capital, he is constantly pronouncing judgment, hearing one bad news, one person's bad karma after other. So Prabhupada says Yamaraj also welcomes such opportunity to go and associate with the pure souls like Yudhishthira Maharaj, Narada Muni, Bhishma Dev, and Supreme Lord himself. So even though externally it looks like a curse, it was a welcome change for Vidura, who is Yamaraj. So he's not an ordinary personality. So that's the point that's mentioned here. Just for 100 years, he took his place as a minister in Dhritarashtra's court as his brother Vidura. But Vidura is a very exalted personality. In fact, he is one of the 12 Mahajanas, Yamaraj himself. So he, this is his position. Yudhishthira Maharaj, because he is a very exalted personality, in last chapter, we saw how he took advice from Krishna, performed the 3 Ashwamedha sacrifices, and he ruled this planet with uncommon opulence. In fact, so much so to evoke the curiosity and the desire within the hearts of Devatas to possess equal amount of wealth. That's how opulent Yudhishthira Maharaj was. So Vidura coming in such a scene, in such a situation when Yudhishthira Maharaj is already ruling the king, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is already bringing up the heir apparent, which is the future king, Parikshit Maharaj also. He is also properly trained by all the Pandavas. Last week, we also saw the different qualities that were predicted by great Brahmanas like Dhaumya Rishi. about the position of Parikshit Maharaj. So Vidura could see everything. Vidura could also see in this whole beautiful scene, he could also see his brother holding on to the same old attachment. So Bhagavatam says that evam griheshu saktanam pramattanam tadihaya atyakramad abhigyata kala paramadushtaraha. What is the quality of time? Evam griheshu saktanam. If one is overly attached to a home, pramattanam tadihaya, overly attached even to the point of being mad after that possession. Evam griheshu saktanam. Saktanam means, asakti means detachment. Saktanam. Evam griheshu saktanam means one who is overly attached to household affairs. Pramattanam tadihaya. Even to the point of being mad. Tad ihaya. Not only physically, but also in thoughts. Their whole thoughts is just like that only. About possessing, holding on to this and being overly attached. Evam griheshu sattanam pramattanam tadihaya atyakramad avigyata kala paramadushtaraha. To such people, what does time do? Time comes and it overpowers them. How? Sending an SMS prayer, sending some notification prayer? No. Atyakramad avigyata. Slowly, imperceptibly. Imperceptibly means kshanak, slowly doing, but nobody can actually see the effect of time. A person who grows up, every day they may look in the mirror, but every day we don't realize that we are getting old. You will pick, if you don't see in the mirror for some days, months, suddenly one day you do, hey, some gray hair here. Suddenly you may see, hey, some wrinkle here. Like that. It will be very imperceptible. It will be coming slowly, so much so that nobody can even see the effect of time. But time swallows everything. Especially who? Evam griheshu sattanam pramattanam tadihaya atyakramat abhigyata kala paramadustaraha. That time, paramadustaraha, which comes and takes away, swallows everything. It is extremely powerful. It comes and it imperceptibly, abhigyata, without anyone's notice, it comes and takes away. It comes and overpowers those who are attached to their home, their country, their wealth and everything. So this verse is actually mentioned here in the context of everyone except Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj is a pure devotee, but in this verse, in this particular context, is especially mentioned to refer to Dhrtarastra's attachment. Now, the next section speaks about the instructions of Vidura to Dhrtarastra. Very powerful, straightforward preaching. This kind of technique of preaching, I remember in one class I was attending Kadamkana Maharaj's class, and Maharaj was saying Vidura uses chopwood technology. Like you have a dry wood, firewood you want to take, you take an axe, you just like hit, you chop it straight away. No more fluff, no more nice words. He just goes to the point, heavy instructions, but that heaviness is the sign of the deep love which Vidura had, because Vidura knew he had no business. He's already like a sannyasi. He is a pure devotee. He has already taken a lot of association from different personalities. And he's already perfected his life. He has no business to come and meet Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is living in such a great opulence. But still, he does it simply to show compassion for his dear brother. So he still is not giving up. He still wants to do something good to his brother. And that's the reason why he comes. He addresses, Dear Rajan. It's a sarcastic address. So normal times when the king is addressed as Rajan, yeah, they are king. That's the etiquette everyone would follow. But Dhritarashtra is no longer a king. All his sons were killed in Kurukshetra war, but he is still holding on to his chair because Yudhishthira Maharaj, out of his compassion, genuine respect for Dhritarashtra, he is allowing him and he is treating him like the king. Even though it is good from Yudhishthira Maharaj's part to treat someone like that, from Dhritarashtra's part, is actually bad to receive such respect, because first thing is he doesn't qualify. We'll see Vidura doing open heart surgery shortly. So he addresses, dear Rajan, please get out of this place immediately. Nirgam yatam shigram. He says, you are staying here for so long. Kali Yuga is approaching. Leave the home soon. Just see how fearful time has overtaken you. And now he'll speak about the symptoms. Fearful time. Pashedam bayam agatam. Time brings a lot of fear in one's heart. And you can be a student. If you don't do, yesterday I was speaking to the youth. We were discussing about time management. Normally, in our lives, we have important and unimportant things. Important things means something which is very pressing. Unimportant doesn't mean that you don't need to do at all. Unimportant means that you can do it effortlessly, like brushing your teeth, for example, or taking a bath. Okay, let's assume we put them under unimportant, meaning easy. Important, something which is more pressing, you need to exert yourself, you need to put to so much effort. That can be cooking, studying, working. So we have like this category of activities. One is very important and the other one is relatively less important. Let's put it that way. So initially when we start to do work, it won't be in an urgent mode. We have a lot of time. It's not urgent, but it can be important or unimportant. But the same things, if you postpone, we procrastinate, we delay, same important and relatively less important things from being less urgent will come to a more immediate urgent activity. For example, if you wake up early in the morning, you will have enough time to cook. But if you wake up late, even if you want to cook, seemingly simple activity can actually become complex, because now you are working in a urgent mode. Same way, you can take any work. Somebody, if you are a student, somebody gives you an assignment. You do the same task when it is in the less urgent zone. Then it becomes easy. You can do peacefully. You can contemplate. You can contribute. You can explore a lot of possibilities, and then you can do nicely. Same thing can be for cooking. Same thing can be for cleaning the home, anything. But the same thing, if you procrastinate, even seemingly easier things will become very, very difficult. Time will overcome. Time will cause that fear, or lack of time will cause that fear. We call it lack of time. It simply means time has elapsed, basically. It's not like suddenly in our bank account, money goes down like that, time also goes down. It doesn't go like that. Time is always there. But if we don't utilize the time, Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Muddyan Astam Chayanyashav Tasyarte Kshana Nirta Uttama Shloka Vartaya. Tasyarte Kshana Nirta Uttama Shloka Vartaya. Except those who are using their time to glorify Uttama Shloka, the Supreme Lord, everyone's life is taken away. When Ayur Harati Vaipumsam, from Pumsam means humans, Ayur Harati means the life time is taken away. How? Udyan Astam Chayanyashav. With the every rising of the sun and setting of the sun, life is being taken away from all humans except those who are engaged in glorifying the Supreme Lord. This is one of the first instructions Shukadeva Goswami speaks. We'll see that in the second canto. So here it's important that time has already, fearful time has already overpowered Dhritarashtra. And Vidura is highlighting this. And now we will see the series of instructions which he gives. So he tells him, give up everything and leave. Nirgam yatam shigram. He says, like, give up everything immediately and leave. Kali Yuga is approaching fast. The time, fearful time is overpowering you already. What are you doing? And now he continues. Death cannot be counteracted by anyone. Pratikriyana yasyeha kutaschit karhichit Prabhu. Kutaschit karhichit. Kutaschit means by any means. Karhichit means by anyone. By no means can you stop death. By no one. No one is capable of stopping death also. That's what it means. Death is inevitable. Prabhupada often say, in English there is a phrase, as sure as death. Death cannot be counteracted by anyone. Why? Because death is the Supreme Lord himself as Kala, who is approaching everyone. So he's saying, Pratikriyana yasyaha kutaschit karhichit prabho. This death cannot be stopped by any means. Kutaschit cannot be stopped by anyone. Karhichit. Saesha Bhagavan Kala. Why? Saesha Bhagavan Kala. This is Supreme Lord himself as Kala. There is nobody who can withstand him. Sarvesham na samagataha. He comes and he is approaching everyone. There's equality in this. Supreme Lord as Kala, Sarvesham na samagataha. He is coming and approaching everyone here. Nobody can escape. So he is telling Dhrtarastra, don't be attached because everyone dies, not just you. So you don't need to be fearful. Now he starts to give instructions. He teaches renunciation to Dhrtarastra in 7 verses. Very logical statements, very heavy statements. First, he tells about the power of time. Time forces everyone to surrender everything, including wealth, honor, children, land, home, and even one's life. Everything goes. One's body also goes. Ena chaivabi pannoyam pranai priyatamayrapi. Anything which is dear to one, it takes away. Jana sadhyo viyujyeta kim utanyar dhanadibihi. Dhana adibihi. All kinds of wealth it takes. And other things which is very dear to one. So power of time is such that first is kutaschit karhichit. Nobody can stop. No means can stop. You cannot stop by any means. You don't have anyone to stop death also. That's one. Second, the power of time is such that it forces everyone to surrender everything, including one's life. So he says, death is approaching. So now you have to find the means to conquer death. Now you can't conquer death by directly fighting with it. Why? Because it is all powerful. Saesham Bhagavan Kala. Who can fight with the Supreme Lord? Impossible. But there is an indirect way to conquer death. And now he gives logical statements. Why he should renounce. He says, all your relatives have died. Your father left. Your father passed away. Brother passed away, which is Pandu. Well-wishers, sons, everyone is dead. All your 100 sons are dead. All your well-wishers are dead. Your body is overtaken by invalidity. Already you were blind. Now you're, as if that's not enough, you are attached. As if that's not enough, now you have gone so old and you have become invalid. You cannot do anything. People are just maintaining you. And you are living in someone else's home. He says, come on. You have nothing. You are living in someone else's home. And just because Yudhishthira Maharaj is worshipping you like that, you still feel I'm good and I'm the king here because he has put me in the throne. He says, no. All your relatives have died, which means death will come to you also. Renounce now. Move on. And then he says, there are visible symptoms of old age I can see. He says, you are already blind from birth and now you are deaf also. You can't even hear properly. Your memory is short and you are losing your teeth. Your digestion is weak and you are coughing mucus. So these are the symptoms which Vidura says to Dhrtarashtra, but it's not just for Dhrtarashtra, it's for us too. Time is overcoming everything. As they say, nothing but change is constant in this world. So we should never think, I have got plenty of time. Death can approach anyone at any time. When I heard first time in one Prabhupada's lecture about Parikshit Maharaj being cursed to die in 7 days, I was feeling very sorry for Parikshit Maharaj. And I heard that. And then 2 sentences later, Prabhupada says, but we are not as fortunate as Parikshit Maharaj. I'm like, did I hear that right? Fortunate? How was Parikshit Maharaj fortunate? He was cursed to die. Then Prabhupada says, but we are not fortunate like Parikshit Maharaj because Parikshit Maharaj had 7-day notice to death. We can die in the next moment. I was thinking, oh yeah, that's very true. Parikshit Maharaj was very fortunate. But we are not, because death will come, strike imperceptibly, abhigyata. It will come, it will overcome. Atyakramad abhigyata. Atyakramad means it will surpass, it will overcome us. Abhigyata, without our knowledge. It will come and catch us. So he says visible symptoms are there. Eyes gone, you have become deaf, digestion is weak, you're coughing mucus, your memory is weak, you are losing your teeth. But the attachment is still there. Then he says, it's very astonishing to see your urge to live. How much hopes are you having? Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti hai malayam. Sesha stavaram ichanti. Kim ascharya matapara. What is more wonderful than seeing people think death can actually affect anyone but me? This is the most wonderful thing. This is Maharaj says to Yamaraj himself. So here he says, it's very astonishing to see your urge to live. All your relatives are dead. Your body is also feeling weak, but you are still attached and you think, no, I want to still lead a very comfortable life. And then to add insult to injury, because Vidura knew Dhritarashtra deep in the core of his heart, he is again a Kshatriya. And Krishna says to Arjuna, for a Kshatriya, defame, infamy is worse than death. Dishonor is worse than death. Dhritarashtra is staying in the home of not just Yudhishthir, but of Pandavas, and he specifically wanted to provoke him. Vidura is provoking by using Bhima's name. Why? Because firstly, Bhima took the vow to kill all of his 100 sons, and he killed all his 100 sons. And second, at the end of the war, when Pandavas came to greet Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, at that time, Dhritarashtra feigned love and he said, oh, I have caused so much pain to all of you Pandavas. Oh, my dear Bhima, please come. I'm yearning to actually give you a loving embrace. But Krishna knew very well why he is asking Bhima to come. So what Krishna had done was he had already made a sculptor to make a statue of Bhima. So Krishna gestures to Bhima, you keep talking. So he keeps talking. Yes, my dear uncle, I'm here. But then Krishna, instead of letting Bhima to go and embrace Dhritarashtra, he pushes this statue, which has the same height, same form, same muscular structure, everything as Bhima. Because Dhritarashtra was so attached to his 100 sons, especially Duryodhan, he was fuming and he was seeking an opportunity for vengeance. As soon as what he mistook as Bhima came closer, he held it tight within his grip and smashed the whole iron statue into pieces. That's how angry he was with Bhima. And now Vidura is provoking him by using the word Bhima. What is he saying? Alas, how powerful are the hopes of living being to continue in this life. You are living like a household dog, taking food from Bhima. This is to provoke any kind of attachment he has within his heart. He is doing open heart surgery. He's saying, it's the same person who killed all your 100 sons. Vidura has got nothing against Bhima. His sole focus is, I have to make my brother leave home. He is too attached now. I have to make him attain perfection in life. So he is telling, now Bhima is eating and throwing, and you are going there and eating the food, remnants left by Bhima, just like how a dog will do. You are just his household dog. This is how heavy he is talking. Then he says, you are leading a degraded life. You are leading a life begging charity from the same people who you try to kill. By fire, by poison, you try to insult their wife, and you stole away their wealth also. Normally, if somebody does something wrong and to get something favor, If somebody has done wrong against someone, but if they find themselves to be in the position where they receive the mercy from the same person, they'll feel some guilt. So here, Dhrtarastra tried to do some harm, not just once. He gives 4, but so many ways he did. He tried to poison them, usurp their wealth, insulted. He played party of people who insulted their wives, so many things. He tried to burn them to death. Okay, once somebody may actually say, okay, it's not a cold-blooded murder, it's just in the spur of the moment they did. But somebody whose whole life is meant for somehow or other getting rid of Pandavas and making his sons the king so he can hold the position. So that same person, whose plans are completely thwarted by the Supreme Lord, now he is living in the home of the same people, enjoying the comforts which they are providing. He's saying, what a degraded life you are living by accepting charity from the same people who you have tried to kill in so many different ways. Then he says, you are a miser. Despite your unwillingness to die, but to remain alive, even at the cost of honor, death, even at the cost of honor. He's saying you are a miser, kripana. Why are you a kripana? On one hand, you don't want to die, but despite your unwillingness to die, death is approaching you. That's one thing. But why are you kripana, miser? Because you are willing to live even in exchange of your honor. You are a Kshatriya. For Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. A Kshatriya would rather die than to live a life of dishonor. In your case, you have swapped your honor in exchange for some charity. So he says, you are a miser. You have given away your wealth of honor in exchange of some comforts. But the point here is, despite you having done that, death is still approaching you. That's the whole point here he's saying. So he's telling his brother, get out. What are you doing here? And then he says, a dhira, one who is fixed, undisturbed. Who is a dhira? A dhira is one who leaves to an unknown destination, to a remote place, free from all obligations, and quits his material body when it becomes useless. Gata swartam imam deham. One who quits his body, virakto mukta bandhanaha, abhigyata gatir jayat. Abhigyata means nobody should know where he has gone. Savai dhira udahritaha. See, he says this is the definition of dhira. Who is the dhira? Gata swartam imam deham. One who has gone to a remote place without unknown destination, without telling anyone. When one's body has become weak, and one who quits his body there, only such a person is known as dhira. Now, then he goes one step further and he says, somebody who is superior to dhira is the first class human being, who is known as narottama. Tama means ignorance. Uttama means beyond ignorance. Nara Uttama means, Nara means humans. One who is the supreme, or one who is the supermost of all humans. That's what it means. Narottama, the best of all humans. And who are they? One who leaves home and develops indifference to material attachment. In other words, one who surrenders to the Supreme Lord, becoming indifferent to other things, gives up everything and goes and take shelter either by one's own endeavor or by inspiration from others. So, such a person who has taken that inspiration either on his own or from others, putting his faith, totally surrendering at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Hari, and developing indifference. Indifference means they develop detachment from anything else, and they walk free and they live and take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Such a person is Narottama. Yasvakrit parato veha jata nirveda atmavan hridi kritva harim gehat parabrajetsa Narottama. Prabrajetsa Narottama. He says such a person who has taken shelter of the Supreme Lord Hari, yes, swakat paratoveha, either by one's own inspiration or taking inspiration from others. Jata nirveda atmavan hridi kritva harim gehat, taking shelter of the Supreme Lord Hari, pravrajetsa narottama. One who is developing detachment, taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, either by one's own inspiration or by feeling inspired by others, one who totally dependent on the Supreme Lord Hari and becomes detached. Such a person is Narottama. And he concludes, you can never become a Narottama, because if you are a Narottama, you would have already left everything and gone. So he's saying you cannot become a Narottama because that opportunity is gone. At least become a Dhira. That's how he concludes. And Dhira is one who goes to an unknown place when the body has become invalid and useless and quits the body, at least, and developing detachment, at least become a Dhira. So in this way, Vidura uses many heavy words, but the only purpose of him coming back to the home is simply to show mercy and compassion to his elder brother. And in this case, because he doesn't have that luxury of speaking sweet words, following the etiquette, and satyam, hitam, priyam is speaking in a very palatable way, in a way which doesn't disturb other people. He has to bend those rules a little bit because time is running fast. It's now or never. Because Vidura cannot come back again. He is also preparing for his final destination. And now, as a very, very dutiful dear brother, as a true well-wisher of his brother, he is even breaching the etiquette simply to favor his brother, and he uses heavy words. Madhureva samapayat. Every story must have an happy ending in Vedic scriptures. So his instructions, even though he has spoken to his brother throughout his life, this final shot he is taking at it will bear its fruits. Dhrtarastra will develop renunciation and Dhrtarastra will leave home. We'll see that in the next session. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.